Okay, hello everyone, welcome to another bread video. Today I'm going to make a milk bread. Okay, it has 400 grams of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add 83 grams of boiling water to it. Okay, I'm going to mix it, try to mix it as evenly as possible. Okay, the purpose of this is to cook part of the flour so that it minimizes the gluten development, because this is supposed to be a very soft fluffy bread, so that step helps. Okay, next supposed to be 3 grams of yeast, but I have only used 2. Look at the temperature today, it's 31 degrees, it's really warm. So I'm going to add in the yeast. It's about 2.2 grams. Okay, this is 12 grams of sugar and 1 gram of salt. Add it in. Okay, again give it a mix around, make sure everything is nicely incorporated. Okay, okay, now this is 167 grams of milk. I'm gonna crack 2 eggs inside. Okay, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil as well. Now I'm gonna give it a mix. I like to mix my liquid ingredients before adding it to the dough, so it's easier to incorporate. Okay, don't need to overbeat it, we're not making a cake. So now let's add everything in. This is gonna be quite a wet, sticky dough. That's alright, we can work on it and it'll come together very soon. This is actually an adaptation from one of the YouTube recipes, which I will share with you in the link later. I have tweaked some steps, and I will explain the differences later, or maybe in another video. But right now just focus on getting the ingredients to incorporate. Okay, you can see it's one shaggy mess, and you can see there are still white bits of flour. That's something I don't want. I want to incorporate everything. Make sure you don't see any more white bits of flour. Okay, right. So now I'm gonna leave this here for about 20 minutes, and I will be back later. About 20 minutes is up. You can see that the dough is still pretty shaggy, so it's now it's time to work on it. Okay, I'm gonna scoop it up. I'm gonna put everything on the table. Okay, don't worry if it's very sticky. Now I'm going to show you the slap and fold method. So basically, you dig your hands into the dough, bring it down, scoop it in, pull it up, and pull it over. as you do it for several minutes, you'll find that the dough will start to develop. You can see it's starting to get smoother. Don't worry about the stickiness, just keep going. So as you throw the dough over, pick it up from the side, so there's a quarter turn, slap it down, fold over, pick it up this way, quarter turn, pull it up, pull it over. Okay, and keep repeating. You can see it's actually cleaning up some of the dough from the table as the gluten develops. Hands are pretty sticky, but that's fine. Don't add any more flour at this stage. You can see it's starting to get smoother. Okay, so at this point, I think I will let it rest for a while and put it back in the bowl. Okay, we'll come back about 3 minutes later. About 3 minutes is up. I'm going to scoop out the dough again. This is a pretty sticky dough, but as I was saying, don't worry about that. With a little bit of self-belief, this will go very far. Okay, so this scraper here is very useful for working with sticky dough. So right now I'm going to do the slap and fold again. Okay. You can see now the dough is quite smooth, and it's a lot more elastic. See, it came to a ball very quickly. In fact, I would say it's almost ready. So I'll take my scraper. Keep going a few more times. Okay, this dough is really coming together nicely now. See, let's pull off some bits from the table, so you can increase the tempo if you want to. That's okay, keep going at a consistent pace. Okay, I'm going to scoop everything up again. I'm going to let it rest for another 3 minutes. Okay, so given it another 3 minutes. Now I'm going to scoop it out from the bowl again. Make sure you don't have to scrape up everything from the bowl, but try and get out as much as possible. Okay. Okay, this will be a little bit messy, but Well, that's just the nature of baking, right? Okay, so now we repeat that process again. Slap and fold. Okay, now you can see it's really come together now. Okay, in fact what I'm going to do now, I think the dough is sufficiently developed, so I'm just going to throw on a little flour here. Okay. Okay, notice I'm not scooping any more new flour to it, just getting the dough together. All the flour is actually behind me. Okay, so now I'm putting it on the flour. You can dust your hands slightly so they no longer stick. So now I make it into a ball. You can see I'm actually handling the dough very lightly so it doesn't stick anymore. Of course there will be some bits on the table, don't worry about that. Okay, so this is where your scraper comes in handy. Okay, now I'm shaping it into a nice tight ball. See? Okay, now I'm going to put it in the bowl. Okay, so I've proofed the dough for about 1 hour. This is a pretty sticky dough, but you can see once it's well fermented, see it doesn't stick anymore, and you can feel that it's light and airy. Okay, there's a trick for taking out the bread without damaging too much of the dough. What you can do is flour the edges, rather the sides of the bowl, some on the top. Okay, what you can do for the scraper, okay, just spray some water on it. Okay, and then you need to flour your table as well, not too much. Okay, so now start scooping it up. Okay, try not to tear the dough. Okay. Flour it lightly. Okay, I'm gonna have to weigh this dough. Okay, so I'm just gonna bring it together. Okay, it's about 750 grams. So I shall divide it into 3 pieces of 250 grams. Okay, can degas it now. The metal scraper will be better for this. It's okay. So let's weigh this. It's about 235. This is 200. Okay, this is 245. 269. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to add a bit more flour. As you can see, the conditions are really not ideal. The sun is shining into onto my table and it's warming up the dough really quickly, so I need to work fast. Okay, so now I'm going to just give it a rough shape into a small ball. Okay. Again, you can dab your hands with flour so it doesn't stick. So, rough ball. You can see all of them about the same size because I weighed them out evenly. Okay. So now what you need to do is cover it. I'll leave it for maybe 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes before I come. Okay, so this is slightly over 5 minutes. I've shortened the bench rest because it's really warm, and I've put some butter in the tin loaf tin rather, and I'm going to grease it and spread out the butter evenly. Alright, okay. So now, I think we need a little bit more flour. Okay, you can dust off the excess flour. Okay, you can see just now the dough is really sticky, right? But you see once it has fermented well, the dough is no longer as sticky. Of course, some flour would definitely help as well. So we need to degas this dough properly. You can see there's still many bubbles. Okay, if it's still very sticky, you can add a little bit more flour. Okay, I'm going to degas this more. Make sure there are no big bubbles in there. Okay. So once I shape this into a nice tight round ball, I'm going to drop it in the loaf tin. Okay. Same thing, you want to degas it. Okay, now make it into a tight ball. You can pinch it together. Put it inside. Okay, I can push it and make space for it, it's fine. Okay, again, dust off the excess flour. Okay, just get. Okay, make sure you degas it very well. No big holes. Okay. Okay, this looks good. Okay, now put it in the loaf tin. Make sure it's can press it in nicely. Okay. The seam sides are always down. Okay, so now you can check if there are any big bubbles, you can degas them. Okay, so today is very warm. I suspect in 10-15 minutes this might be ready to bake. So let's set the timer, and I'll set it for maybe 12 minutes and I'll check. Okay, so I checked the dough at 12 minutes and I gave it another 3, so I let it proof for another 15 minutes in total. And you can see how do you recognize when the dough is ready. So you can see, firstly, it has it has risen. You can see there's it may not have doubled, but the key is really to pat the dough. You can see there's a nice jiggle to it, right? And when you pat it, you can feel the inside is light and airy. Okay, it doesn't feel dense anymore. Okay, so right now I'm going to egg wash the dough, and it will go into the oven. Give it a light coat, not too much. Okay, so now I've just taken it out of the oven. As you can see, it has a massive oven spring. It really sprang up in the oven, and this is what I had suspected earlier. So you can see the tearing at the sides. You can see that. Okay, if I had used a slightly bigger loaf tin, that would have minimized this problem. Because what happened is that, you can see the bread from here, what happened was the bread did not have any space to expand sideways in the oven, so it could only go up. And because the crust on top had kind of formed already, so it couldn't expand anymore, so the steam or the gas had to escape somehow, so it had to break out from the sides. But anyway, it should still be a pretty decent result. I will show you what's inside. I'll cut the bread later and show you what's inside later. Okay, the bread has cooled down sufficiently, so I shall tear it apart. You can see how fluffy that is. Okay, let me give it a slice. Yeah, there you have it. Nice fluffy milk bread, and hope you enjoyed the video.